Hey guys, we're about to figure out if the great value NASCAR is going to work at all, or if I wasted all my time and money and everything else. Tons of people in the comments said that the thing was never going to work. It's meant to go left or right. I don't even know which way circle track cars, but I think left. Maybe they go both directions. I don't even know. But I'm pretty sure that we can sort all this out and everything's going to work. We do have a bunch of little issues, like we never got all the horsepower of the motor. We didn't change the carb. We didn't open up the exhaust. We didn't hook up the front sway bar. We didn't really figure out the spring rates properly. We didn't change out the rear or front shocks. We're still on the circle track shocks. We've obviously gone down to significantly smaller tires than stock. The seat doesn't exactly fit me perfectly. Man, we have so many things we haven't sorted out, but we want to do a test day. We're going down to Circuit of America for the Lone Star Drift Global Time Attack Super Lap Battle demo that we do every year. Global Time Attack takes the big track at Circuit of America, and we do ride-alongs to entertain their crowd on the skid pad. Ton of fun. Our drivers charge for ride-alongs and everything, so if you ever come out to a Lone Star Drift event, that one's down in Austin. That's a fun one. We always have them around the state. You can look at lonesstardrift.com for dates and stuff, but let's go test this circle track car and see what's going to happen. And if I totally wasted my money, or if this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, I want to know if we can replace all the superly expensive drift cars such as 240SXs and HR350Zs and other things, E36 M3s that are shooting up in value, with something cheaper, more affordable, already built, and all these things. Because to almost any of those cars, we already need to add steering angle, a seat, and do some little things. It isn't really any more effort than any of those things. The difference is it's going to be 100% trailer queen unless you're a real man and street drive the thing, which I don't plan on doing. All right, let's go check this thing out. Let's go.
want to see pain, if you want pure pain, I'm putting $8.59, $1, whatever, 101 octane in this car right now. It better not spill any. I still put a little bit of octane booster in there too. Come on, see how much this thing takes. 2 gallons is $20 almost. Oh God. This is some like midday B-roll stuff. We are currently messing with the carburetor. It was flooding for some reason. The car's been running flawlessly a ton. It just wasn't starting, like it didn't have fuel, so I just put fuel in it, and then it was still not doing it, so I pumped the throttle a bunch of times thinking that I would need to like do something. And it's super flooded, so Mark is tightening up the alternator right now, and we're waiting for that to all evaporate out, I guess. Is that how carbs work? He's waiting for it to evaporate out?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not a carb guy, but I'd say that's probably the best solution right now.
So loud here. We solved it. It was just flooded. Okay, it is the end of the first day of the COTA demo, and I was not filming enough, but I was driving the Circle Track car. It works so well, so surprisingly well. The engine works super well, didn't have any issues with it. It makes pretty good power, makes 320 wheel, but it feels like it's a bit more. The car handles a little tiny bit goofy, only because the rear shocks are probably a little bit too soft, and I don't have any rebound adjustment in the, did I say shocks? I meant springs, and the rebound adjustment in the shocks is a little bit goofy, which just means you can't get on and off the gas and like play with it like a 240SX. You have to be a bit more mindful of how you drive it. Otherwise, you kind of like lose control of the car, because it, as you press the gas down, it dips, and then it pops up a little bit too much, which is something that we can fix. Angle's pretty good. The steering is a little bit slow, as is the steering box and everything, but not bad. And I can absolutely tandem in it and drive it and put it where I want. I'm learning to drive it. Took about 30 laps to get pretty good at it and feel really good at tandem and like be inches on people's doors and everything. I like it. Doesn't have a lot of side bite, has good forward bite. When you're tandeming, it's easy to accidentally shallow up on somebody's line and kind of end up kind of like almost in front of them, but that's something I'll get used to. And it's pretty fast compared to a lot of different cars, but the track is super, super small. It gets really good tire wear. Transmission doesn't go into gear super well. Engine sounds absolutely amazing, fantastic. The brake pedal and some of the pedals, you can get a little confused where they are because they're offset slightly from the driver, and I'm just not used to it. I'll get better. The seat, the seat's super comfortable. It's a Kirky, I'm not sure if you can see it too well. And it's just for a little bit too big of a person. But I love having these side bolsters to hold you in. I just end up leaning against it too much. And my helmet hits the, you can't call it a Hans mount or whatever that is, but my helmet hits that in tandem, and it's a little bit difficult sometimes when you're at big angle to look over and see. You kind of have to like turn your eyeballs instead of your head, and I'm used to turning my head. Also, the handbrake is in a tiny bit awkward position. It's a little bit hard to see, but it's a little bit, let me move that. It's a little bit far over from the shifter in this direction, but it kind of keeps my hands off of it, so I don't really mind it. And you don't really end up using it this much in the car. Because the way you drive the car, you kind of like stay in the gas and then you just back off a little bit, but you don't jump off. My hands are all dirty. What else? We flooded the carb today, and I think that was the only mechanical issue other than one nut falling off the handbrake and me just like putting it back on. I think that's it. The carb was like stuttering a little bit on track. I'm not sure if that's tuning. It could be, or like fuel slosh or anything, but it still makes power and still drives great and stuff. It's just like, I guess, missing an itty bitty bit. But it's like a super consistent thing. I think it just might be the tune's a tiny bit off, but it sounds amazing and works really well. What else? The gearing is super short. It has 544 gears in the back. The ring gear is a 544. We could swap that, but it means that I'm in third or fourth gear on this teeny tiny track. So I don't think the car would probably go faster than 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour, something like that, for wheel speed. So it's a very tight track car, how it's set up right now. What else do I want to change? Probably needs a passenger seat so people can ride in it, and could use a little bit more power, but not super necessary. I'm not clutch kicking it either. I'm just getting on and off the gas to get around the track. And look at how funny that bar sits out when I'm in wide angle mode. I don't know, I like it. It's very goofy. The audience absolutely loves it, which is a lot of fun. A lot of people off the YouTube channel came and watched and saw the car and came up and talked to me and said they came out here just because they saw the YouTube video, which is a lot of fun. Okay, I'm gonna sign off. Give me a review of the circle track car.
I love it. I love the sound. I love the twitchiness. And it looks like it stays cool and everything.
Yeah, it does.
It just needs some like angle work and just some minor details.
What details should I do?
Work on the snap. It's too snappy, so probably need to throw it on the alignment machine. Man, I think you're onto something. Like with everything that's like the whole race car thing that's going on is like, and all you're doing is detuning it. I think all you're having to do is like just retrofitting a race car into a drift car, so it's already going to work better than like building a drift car because it's already been made into a race car that's raced. So I think you're onto something clever.
I hope so. Yeah. Well, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I like driving with it. I like hearing it, the sound that it makes.
Can you hear it like coming in the side of your car when
Yeah, that's why I picked my phone up while I was driving. I was like, this is fantastic. This is like orgasmic, like hearing the sound of the, because it's just like wing, wing.
Does it sound better than your G35?
Anything sounds better than a G35.
Brutal.
Get out of here.
Wait, what's better, Fielding's car or the circle track car?
My VR cars lasted longer than Fielding's car, but the circle track car.
All right. Did you expect it to run like so consistently?
Yeah, kind of.
Really?
Yeah, I figured.
I'm a little surprised about it just running.
I'm honestly surprised I'm still running and everyone else on my team broke.
Yeah?
Yeah, we did laps today. I think 70 people.
Dang.
Yeah,
That's good.
Dang.
It's a 1JZ.
It is sometimes.
Did you have fun today?
Dude, I am surprised this car, because everyone's seen the last video. I'm surprised this car's held together.
What's better, this car or the circle track car?
This,
Really?
because it has stickers,
Okay.
and because the boys like it. That's the
Yeah.
only reason. Remember why we do this?
Review the circle track car.
It is the most ridiculous car I've ever seen on track.
Is
Every
it
time I look
terrible
at it,
or
I
good?
laugh
Why?
because it's so ridiculous.
In a good way or a bad way?
Mostly in a good way.
Mostly in a good way?
Mostly in a good way.
So you don't hate it?
No, I love it. I love
You can
looking.
hate it.
It's so entertaining.
I'm just curious.
I absolutely don't hate it in any means. I love that car. It's so ridiculous. I wish I had a passenger seat though. That's my only qualms with it.
I'll put one in one day.
I just want to ride in it. 'cause
We
it
have
looks
other
so
things
funny.
to do to it first. Got to put it. I guess if we're gonna do the passenger seat, we have to do that before the body.
It's definitely the most entertaining car on track all day. Probably
Really?
the most in any setting because it's so ridiculous looking. People just like
one way to
stare
look at it.
It's so hilarious.
Good.
So great job with that.
That's all I want is attention as a middle-aged man.
So if that's part of your criteria for your checklist, consider it checked off. That's
Yes.
the one.
The circle track car did amazing. I probably did 200 laps. It's a little expensive to fill with gas, but I love this thing. It was like a 350Z on track. Sometimes I'd stay on track for 20 laps at a time. I went through 2 new tires, 2 scrubs, and then started to go through another set. Finally, on the end of the second day, we had a mechanical fuel pump go out. But other than that, like, the car is rad. The car really only gets up to like 180 degrees at the hottest. But it's a nice cold day out. It's like 60 to 50 degrees probably today. The oil temps got maybe up to 180 as well. Most of the time it's running at like 160-ish, which is pretty nice. The car is very well put together. I think the shock dampening is a little off in the back, but other than that, it was super driftable. It kind of was like going out in a Mustang for the first time, how they steer differently and they act a little bit differently when you do stuff. But after I got the hang of it, I loved it. I went out on Valino 08Ds at first, and the car was super easy to drive on those. It was great, but I wanted some more grip, so I put the C's on. With the C's on, I couldn't even tandem with anybody because it was too fast. It was very hard to hold the car back and go on a wide enough line because this thing is a solid axle car and it wants to dive forward. It has a lot of forward grip. And it's hard to like float out And like if you pull the handbrake or do anything, the car doesn't float out anymore. It just like stays exactly on its line. It's a little odd in that respect. Some other things, it's a 544 rear gear. So I'm doing a little teeny tiny jack like this in third, and if I want fourth. I don't think it really makes more than maybe 350 wheel, maybe a tiny bit more on track, but it's plenty for something like this for short stuff. On big stuff, I'm not quite sure. Maybe if I was on the 360 treadwear Velinos, it would be fine. Maybe, I don't know. It has enough power, I guess. It would be nice with like another 50 horsepower, but I feel like we always say that. Transmission is not the smoothest going into gear. What else? It's not a dog box. It's just like a normal 4-speed out of a really old car. Handbrake is in a really weird location. Kinda easy to miss. I'm gonna have to put a bicycle handle on it or something to make that easier. But I really enjoyed it and I love it. It doesn't steer weird left or right or anything weird like that. Cars are so loud. That thing's 1,200 horsepower. It was very easy on tires. It's very easy to work on. It's very easy to, I guess we didn't really have to work on it at all. I'll show you this fuel pump. So the fuel pump is just right down there. We know it's a fuel pump because we just popped off the air filter and we weren't getting fuel there, unless it's like a blocked line, but that'd be kind of weird. And we put some fuel in it, engine ran fine, like adding fuel mechanically by pouring it in the engine, which is pretty hilarious, which is not something you do on a normal fuel injected car. The car is really easy to keep going so far. I love it. I do want to still put a passenger seat in it, but right now, I don't know. I think it's good enough to keep and good enough to like put the body on. I didn't want to put a body on it until I was really confident with it. And like this tire has probably 40 laps on it. And what we're doing is the normal thing where like we're not putting a lot of wear on this tires because the car is pretty light and because the surface and all these things, the tires take it really well. Eventually though, you'll put enough laps in a tire, it'll just start to completely let go. But even if this thing was having problems like staying together after 40 laps, I would drift, like if chunks were coming out or anything else, I would drift all the way down to the cords on the D's, which is pretty fun. So like this car, for some reason, it's really easy to drive, like consistently, regardless of how much tire depth you have here, like tread depth, which is really cool. So these tires are still good to go. I'm finishing off the circle track video.
Circle track video, I love that car. What
You like the car?
Yeah.
Do you think this is a so when I started the whole, let's do this. When I started the series on the circle track car, I was thinking like maybe 240s are getting too expensive and like all the COVID taxes on the cars, JZXs are nuts. These cars are still really cheap and they're plentiful.
Yeah, you're gonna ruin that.
Well, I might, but I was gonna say, do you think like this is a viable thing that might be exciting? Like once you decide it's a trailer queen and you're not gonna drive it on the street.
I wanna give it a shot and just see like.
Get your own?
Yeah.
You really are?
The ride just to the pits, or when we went to go pick up the
I should have let you drive it.
I know,
I forgot.
I think it's gonna be great.
You can't reach the pedals?
All the cooling mods are already there. It already has crazy adjustable suspension, and the rear seems like it does well. You just gotta fix the angle and some of the small stuff.
Which we kind of already have.
Did
you think it was gonna work so well over multiple days of drifting, just beating on it?
Yes.
You did?
Yes. It's a race car. It was already meant for this.
That's actually a good point. I can't believe how well it did.
That's why I watched those
Mark's
videos.
the mechanic. Did it work out well?
Yeah,
Did you
worked
expect
pretty
it
good.
would work this well?
Honestly, no. I figured that clutch was going to fail first time you entered.
I kind of thought the clutch wouldn't last long too. Did Rudy disappear?
Yeah,
Rudy did disappear. I wasn't clutch kicking much, but I did clutch kick a few times.
So
That
what?
was the thing we
You
thought.
go back and what? You could put an electrical fuel pump on it, and
We're just gonna put another mechanical on.
oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And how mechanical fuel pumps probably like way cheaper than
They're
any-
like $50 to $200 depending. We were just looking at Summit, depending on like how crazy they are.
Yeah, but they don't even have to do anything but what, 5 PSI or something.
Do you think
like
I should put a body on it and try and make it look cool?
Yes.
Okay, I will.
What kind of body?
I want that Camry body. I'm gonna do the Camry body.
Or do you think you should do one of those fiberglass S14 ones?
Do they have an old fiberglass like S14?
They
thing?
do, but you can't find the like copies of them. You wouldn't be able to buy
I
one.
wonder if you could like
They're from old
2F
IMSA
that
stuff.
thing or something and just like.
No, you saw the Camry thing render I
Yeah,
did,
no,
right?
the Camry
It looks
would
like
be
an
great.
S15. I get to do S15 headlight stickers.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
One last parting thought. There's a bunch of cars here that I can post pictures of, like the G37 with like a
G37
tune
as well.
and cams and stuff. Your car, the 370Z with the turbo kit. A lot of those are in the old vein of like modifying cars, which still makes sense because they're street cars, and this totally isn't a street car. I kind of feel like race car shit like this starts to make it like some of those cars redundant. The 370Z got pulled apart like 5 times this weekend.
Yeah,
He
it
took
did.
the turbo off, he did all kinds of
took
stuff.
some L's.
He had cooling issues, and like he's really good at it. He's a tuner. Like he owns the company that tunes the car. But you know how it is, like it's difficult to do that stuff. So maybe it is viable.
You can't really plan for all of this stuff. I mean, what's the chances of the VR car lasting all weekend? I didn't even wrench on it, and I drove it here and drove it home.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I think just working out bugs. I mean, the 370Z makes a bunch of horsepower for being
My
turbo.
point was like a customer buying something
yeah.
like that. It would be incredibly difficult to have a good relation. Like,
Well,
if it's so modified.
Yeah, John Yem's SR 86 Corolla broke down, and I am the mechanic on that, so, you know, I'm busy doing my thing this weekend, so he had to unfortunately bow out because he's not mechanically capable, so
Yeah.
that's the hard part about
What'd he
all
break?
of this. His fuse box melted.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, like if it was my car, of course I'm gonna sort it out, but like we're all here, we're all trying to have fun, and now he's left on his own, so you have to be good at cars somewhat, you know.
I can't tell, like, we had a Tesla here last year, and I thought that'd be really cool to watch drifting. It was boring snooze fest.
Oh yeah.
This thing makes no power. Well, I mean, it doesn't make crazy power, but it sounds amazing. I had so many people like going nuts about it.
The sound is phenomenal.
I can't tell if it really brings a lot of excitement or not, or if like it's just new, so people are excited about it.
I think even the revving makes me excited because it almost sounds exotic. Like
It does. It sounds crazy.
yeah, like a Lambo or something. You hear it, and just all you're missing is some flames.
I wonder if people just got these with like shitty small blocks that didn't make power, didn't have crazy headers, if it would be the same effect. Otherwise, like it might not be at all.
Yeah.
Like maybe the engine noise is what does it.
Because like
this sounds cooler than a 2J to me.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, it sounded really good. Like it sounds better than like your regular LS. Like I don't like that whole choppy thing. This thing winds up like a bat out of hell. I love it.
Yeah. All right. All right. I'm gonna go buy a body for it. I think this was a successful thing. Thank you, everybody.